What's up, Grizz Nation? Welcome back to Memphis. The Memphis Grizzlies are back in town. They're taking on the PHNX Suns tonight at 7 p.m. at FedEx Forum. Joining me once again for the second time this week, Gerald Bourguet. Thank you for coming on once again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh, this feels like a little bit of deja vu because the Grizzlies did play the Suns earlier this week. That one was 125-100. The Grizzlies won that one. A really convincing win too. And I don't think a lot of people expected that. Like, yes, Devin Booker, it was out. They had a whole bunch of guys out, and we'll get to the injury report for today. But the Grizzlies played better than they have on the road in a really long time. So unfortunate for the Suns, but great for us. I think there were 6 guys in double digits. I think 4 of those guys had double doubles. Like, it was just a game that you really love to see. Now the Grizzlies are coming back into this one after a very disappointing loss in their very first Christmas Day game. So let's get into it. The injury report. The Grizzlies, they've got nothing. So I got nothing here except for Danny Green, who is still recovering from his ACL injury last year. But you have quite the long injury list, unfortunately.
Yeah, the Suns are going to be without Devin Booker. They're going to be without Cam Payne. Cam Johnson is still out. And they're also going to be adding Landry Shamet to the list. I think he has right Achilles soreness, which is something that just came up. And that's kind of a tough one because he had been playing really well the last 4 games or so with Devin Booker in and out. He played 4 minutes on Christmas Day before he tweaked that groin injury again. And now they're calling it a left groin strain. So he might be out for a couple weeks. And the Suns just lost the guy who had been filling in for him so well. He dropped 31 on Christmas. So
He played well against the Grizzlies too. He had something in the teens, 16.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just put together the first 4-game stretch of his tenure with the Suns, scoring in double figures. So it was literally the best he's looked in the Suns jersey. So of course he's hurt now. This might get ugly pretty quick again.
Oh no. Well, we don't like to say that. We always want a good game, even though like deep down I'm like, a win. Perfect. But let's talk about the ways that the Suns could potentially win. Let's talk about the ways that the Grizzlies could potentially win. I'm going to say for the Grizzlies, a big key for them has been defending that 3-point line. It has been a little bit better at home than rather than away. They've really struggled defending the 3 in other people's arenas, but the Suns, like we talked about earlier this week, top 10 in 3-point attempts, top 10 in 3-point percentages. But the last time we played the Suns, they only shot 25% from the 3-point line. I was curious what you thought about the last time that these two teams matched up.
Yeah, I think we talked about it before that game as well, that it was going to be kind of contrasting styles as far as the Grizzlies like to get in the paint. They like to hit the offensive glass, get second chance points. And those are all areas where the Suns, when they struggle with those things, they really struggle. And that definitely came, that reared its ugly head in that game, because I think the Grizzlies had 72 points in the paint in that game, which is absurd. They had like 22 second chance points. And Monty Williams challenged his team after the game. He was saying teams are coming in here. They know they can play physical against us and will wilt. They take it to us, and we're kind of the prey right now instead of the predator. So I am interested seeing these two teams play for the second time in the week, whether they take that message to heart again against this same team that, let's be honest, embarrassed them on their home floor in a dominant win from start to finish. I don't know if the 3-point shooting is going to fix itself, just because, they're missing Book, they're missing Cam Johnson, they're missing Shamet. Those are 3 of their best 3-point shooters. But I do hope to see at least a little bit more physicality, a little more toughness, and a little more attention to the defensive glass this time around.
It's interesting to hear that Monty has said that to his team, because that's been something the Grizzlies have been talking about a lot too, is being the aggressor first and being that, like the first punch rather than the let's try and dig our way back in, which they've done so many times this year. They've kind of gotten themselves into deficits and then tried to claw their way back. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But who does that start with for the Suns? Because with the Grizzlies, when you talk about trying to like start off really aggressive, really physical, it starts with Dillon Brooks, and it starts with John Morant going downhill on the offensive end. Who is the spark plug with the Suns? Who would you want to see that from?
I think honestly, and this is a weird answer because he's a Hall of Famer and one of the greatest to ever do it, but I think it starts with Chris Paul right now. With Devin Booker out, we've kind of seen DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges struggle to be that number 2 guy. And last year it was definitely Chris Paul. At age 37, he might not be that guy anymore, but they need him to orchestrate the offense. They need him to run pick and rolls with DA to get Ayton going, and they need to find Mikal Bridges on the perimeter to get him in his sweet spots as well. So it kind of starts with him. And when he's not on, the Suns are a noticeably worse team, especially with Book out. And when he is on, they can actually compete. And that's what they're going to need against a good team like the Grizzlies.
Chris Paul had 10 points in the last game that these two teams matched up. It was Ayton who had 18, but there was two guys off the bench that had double-digit scoring as well. Actually, both teams had pretty high bench scoring games. They were both in the 40s or 50s. How do the benches match up in this one? I actually enjoy a good second unit. I don't want to call this a rivalry. That's a dumb word, but like a second unit, like they were going at each other, and I liked to see that.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. And that was kind of the only thing that was fun from the last game, if we're being honest, from the Suns' perspective, at least. But yeah, it's tough to say because the Suns have so many key guys out. They've got Torrey Craig starting. Their second unit is looking a little rough, but I do look at guys like Damian Lee, who's been really good. He's been one of the league's, and he's been one of the league's best 3-point shooters this season. You hope that a guy like Dwayne Washington can come in and have an impact. I think he played. I think those were the two guys off the bench that played pretty well, aside from Shamet last time. And the Suns are going to need them to step up because they're missing Payne, they're missing Shamet now, they're missing Book. They're going to need guards to come in and just get some shots up at some point. And on the other side for the Grizzlies, like I think Brandon Clark had like 20 some points last time around.
I'm such a big Brandon Clark fan.
Oh yeah, I wanted the Suns to draft him back when he was on the board. That worked out well for them with Cam Johnson, obviously, but he's always been a favorite of mine, and he's a guy that gives them some problems because of his size and athleticism.
Yes. Okay. This is going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We're putting that into the air. Okay. So last time I said, pick one matchup that you got to choose that like you're excited for. So this time you can't say Ja and McHale.
Okay.
You got to just like pick. We're going to be excited for that one. Give me another matchup to look out for today as your like highlighted matchup of the game.
For me, it's DeAndre Ayton versus Steven Adams. He had some major problems keeping Adams off the offensive glass. I think he had 3 or 4 offensive rebounds like in the first couple of minutes of the game. It was rough. And DA is a strong guy, but Adams is just like a brick house down there.
Yeah, he's like not even human. He literally is just like a brick wall.
Right. And he's a guy that doesn't need to score a ton, but he does the dirty work and makes plays like that can noticeably throw a guy like DA off his game. So I am interested to see, can DA put up, 20 plus points because they're going to need him to just from a scoring perspective. And B, is he going to be tough and physical and take Monty's lesson challenge from the last game to heart against one of the toughest guys in the league to do that against?
All right. Like we said, this will be a good game. I like watching these two teams play. I would obviously prefer if Devin Booker was playing because we love a full strength team, but c'est la vie. Today's game tips off at 7 p.m. Everyone, you can watch it on Bally Sports Southeast or the Bally Sports Plus app. And if you're coming into town, make sure you're staying safe. Make sure you're staying warm. I think we'll have water, so you can come with us. Yeah, we don't have water right now in a lot of Memphis, but we'll have it hopefully for you at the arena. And Gerald, thank you again, seriously, so much. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your holidays.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kelcey. You too.